Viva España. We're back in Europe. We're back in Spain for the last time at Catalonia before we go to Madrid, I think, if my failing memory serves me right. But my name's Dan and I'm joined by Alex, and we're here to talk to you about cars doing zoomies round circuits for some laps.
Some laps, the laps change, but there's going to be some laps. On that, have we actually seen 100% the Madrid layout yet? I know we saw was that a proposed layout, or was that this is definitely what we're racing on layout?
I would imagine it was this is where we're going to be, I think.
Right.
But that said, there are several streets in Madrid, and therefore I suspect it could be subject to change. Although,
true.
I guess some form of re-tarmacking might be appropriate. I don't know. But anyway,
yes.
We're not in Madrid yet. We're still some distance outside of Barcelona. And is where we probably should continue to stay because it's a proper circuit, and therefore proper circuits are good and street circuits are shit, is what we've established on this podcast over the previous, 20-odd episodes now that I think we've done now?
Yeah.
And
what we've also established is that I rank tracks based on my ability to drive them in the F1 game.
Yeah.
And by that realm, Barcelona is the best track on the calendar, and it needs to stay forever because I'd like to keep it in the games because I can actually do this one. So, if we can keep it in, we've got another fun name as well because it's not just the Spanish Grand Prix, Daniel. It couldn't just be the Spanish Grand Prix.
Tell me more.
Are you looking forward to the Formula One Aramco Gran Premio de España 2024?
I like that. I like that. That feels like a high class tapas menu.
I mean, it's made of oil.
It doesn't matter. Everything's made of oil. And unless you're wearing an orange waistcoat and you're turning up to some upward pointy stones in Salisbury kind of way, and you want to just
them. Also
as well, with all of that stuff, paint comes in some pretty handy kind of pre-packaged spray cans.
Mm-hmm.
They're quite good. You can go and buy them from shops, and I don't necessarily think you need to go to the trouble of filling up fire extinguishers with paint.
Well, I think they claim that it's... we're now a political breaking news podcast. They claim that it's dyed cornstarch, you see, so it's not actually damaging. And everyone went, but the whole point of Stonehenge is it's covered in this red lichen that stops the stones from wearing away or whatever, and you've just fucked that up.
Right.
But yeah, I believe it's a deliberately custom job because they want to cause a ruckus, but not too much ruckus. Only a medium amount of ruckus. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I saw?
Oh, well, indeed.
Before we talk about Spain, I saw something on Instagram the other day, which I should have screenshotted and I should have sent it to you, but I didn't. And therefore, I am forever apologetic because I don't know whether I'm going to be able to actually find it again. But if I can't, I'll give you some context for it. It was basically an image of all of the Formula One drivers on a tier list and basically ranking them as to kind of what level of teammate they would be. I.e. I think Kevin Magnussen was at the top as if kind of I would die for you kind of level, which so far through this season we've seen that. He has pretty much died for Hülkenberg.
Played the team game.
All the way down to Esteban Ocon, where it's kind of I would rather drive myself into the Monaco harbour than see you have a nice time. And it was quite funny because there were that Hamilton was in the middle, and it was a case of I'm too far behind to even kind of cause you any. No, sorry, Perez was in the middle. I'm too far behind to kind of cause you any assistance or trouble. Therefore, you don't need to worry about me. Leclerc and Hamilton were somewhere in the middle as well, saying, I'm going to be arguing with my race engineer more than worrying about where you are, etc. But I thought it was brilliant, and I'm very disappointed with myself that I never screenshotted it.
We're going to have to do our own list at some point. When we get a summer break, we'll do our own tier lists. We'll do a tier list special.
Sign me up.
We'll just do a range of tier lists. But there's going to be some different pairings next year. This is actually probably a nice segue into that because
that's why I said it.
The driver market has stalled somewhat. And if you listen to Mr. Magnussen, who spoke about this in the press conference today, he sort of looked at Carlos and said, yeah, because we're all waiting for you, chap. Because I think Carlos is sort of the linchpin in the middle of everything because there's still, I want to say, a good 4 or 5 seats up for grabs in different levels of jeopardy.
Yeah.
One of them is the Aston Martin seat, which he's just waiting for pocket money and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But once Carlos works out where he wants to go, that's going to, I think, sort of bring that house of cards tumbling down pretty quickly. And I'm going to put you on the spot here, Dan. There are two options for Mr. Sainz, realistically. It seems like, from what's reported, he sort of has two options remaining of where he might feasibly go. Is he going to Williams or is he going to Sauber?
Both of them kind of stink, don't they, for a guy leaving Ferrari? There's no nice way of kind of saying that, but they both honk. I think.
Yes.
I still would like him to go to Aston Martin for several reasons. But I would like him to go there, and it's not going to happen. But I think out of the two of them, surely with the kind of the movement that Williams have made and the success or the limited success that we've seen from Albon over the last couple of years with point finishes and Q3 appearances and things like that, surely for a guy that's kind of got aspirations to stay nearer the sharp end, and dare I say, if Williams don't deliver, then he will be quick enough to kind of go somewhere else, then Williams has got to be the smarter bet. Because, I mean, that stake kick, Sauber, soon to be Audi thing, I mean, looks like it's running on square wheels that they can't even affix to the car properly. Yeah.
Which, to be fair, with a lot of their pit stops, hasn't been. So that's another aspect of it. No, I think I agree. You can kind of see the Williams trajectory in a weird way. Logan's not helping. It actually show that off. If they had two Alex Albons in the car, I think they would be relatively consistently scoring points, because I think there's maybe a little bit of extra. Albon is having to maybe try too hard because he is driving for two people, that if there was two Albons, they'd both be able to maybe relax a little bit more and stick some more points in there. And Carlos would be a second Albon. So I get it. We spoke last week, didn't we, about how much Mr. Vowles has basically come out and begged Carlos to sign the bit of paper. I think it makes sense. I think he's always going to have that Audi option there as the other thing for 2026. You know, he will probably sign a 1+ with Williams, you'd imagine, unless he really gets told something or gets shown some data from a wind tunnel about their, or not a wind tunnel, from their sort of like simulations or something. Williams might have enough numbers to show him to be like, stick around, and then he might sign a 3 or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Audi are going to take that option off the table, even if he turns them down pre Audi. I think we're agreed on it.
I mean, Williams' ceiling might just be round the corner. It might literally be as good as they're going to get. We don't know that. We know that they're obviously not going to have the budgets involved or the resources that those kind of top three teams are going to have. Audi, on the other hand, come 2026, will have those resources available to them. However, with various cost caps in place, they're not just going to be able to go and spunk their entire motorsport budget in on a Formula One team, because they're not going to be able to. They are going to be restricted with what they can and can't do. So it's going to be interesting. I don't necessarily think either of them are particularly great options. I think Aston Martin is probably the best option, and I would imagine Aston would want him if Carlos wanted to go there, which is why they haven't turned around and said, of course Lance is staying. But yeah, Williams feels like the natural fit, doesn't it?
Yeah. Out of options on the table, I think 100%. Someone else that's got to make a decision on where's a fit is Mr. Newey, who you would like Carlos to go to Aston, and Aston would like Adrian to come to them. You were saying before there's maybe a little bit of talk that Ferrari seemed to steam out ahead very early in the race signature, to the point that it was being reported that it was done, and then they had a dodgy pit stop, and the news seemed to stall that he's going to Mercedes, and then Ferrari stormed back again in the second stint, and it seemed like it was them again. And now Aston's come flying around the final bend and might pip him at the line if everything's to be believed. It could also all just be bollocks. It could just be a lot of press talk and he might retire. But yeah, do you think he'll go to Aston?
I don't think you could ever rule Ferrari out all the while that Agent Vasseur is operating. He is a slippery chap, Agent Vasseur, and I really enjoy that about him. But I love the fact that he was there celebrating with Lando and the McLaren team, just kind of like,
and being a sneaky bean about it as well, right?
Yeah, don't forget me. I'm still here.
Yeah,
still.
He wasn't standing at the back just watching. Yeah. He was hiding behind Ted Kravitz with a bottle of his own champagne. I love it. So I don't think you could ever rule Ferrari out. However, there has been an article posted earlier today which said that Ferrari faced the Newey snub.
as rivals signing favourites emerge. It doesn't actually go on to say who those favourites are, but there is another article that came out today, which is from Big Daddy Cash Stroll, or I think Lawrence to his mates, but I think you have to call him Big Daddy Cash. Aston Martin can offer Newey a young and exciting F1 project. And I think that's what we spoke about the other day, wasn't it? It's like they're just around the corner from Silverstone. They've got a brand new factory. Fernando is like all in on Aston Martin. All of his chips are in this factory, and I'm sure they'll tee him up for some role after Formula One, and there'll probably be some form of series if he wanted to go and race in that Aston Martin would sort that out for him as well. They've clearly got cash. They've got good new facilities. They've got plenty of like backing from Big Daddy Cash Stroll. If they can get rid of Lance, then I think they do have a young and exciting project. All the while that they've got him there, I think it's going to be pretty difficult kind of building a Formula One car with stabilizers on the side of it.
Yeah. It's interesting as well, and this is what none of us know and that we're all guessing. Everyone's like, Ferrari or Aston will throw as much money as they want at, at Adrian because, they've got all this money. And he would be outside the cost cap, wouldn't he? Because he'd be one of those top 3 that don't count for it. So they can literally give him the world if they want. Adrian's not a poor man already. Adrian's a long way from being a poor man. And I've never met Adrian.
No.
I've seen Adrian on the telly. He strikes me as the kind of man that would be very big into model trains if he wasn't an F1 aerodynamics ridiculous legend. Because I can see him there, like that scene from Pixar where the guy is, what's the word I want? Like not renovating, repairing and like refurbishing the Woody doll, right?
Oh, okay.
That would be Adrian for me with his train set if he wasn't doing F1 stuff. And I think Aston Martin could be a toy that needs its eye repainting and it needs the stitching done on the trousers and the boot painted over, Ferrari's not that. And there was that thing that we saw with McLaren, and I don't know the chap's name, which is bad, but McLaren made a big money signing, I think from Ferrari, actually. They brought a top dog in, and then like 9 months later, the top dog left because they both went, we don't have enough for you to do. Like, we're ticking along quite well, and I worry that might be how Newey sees Ferrari. He might be like, actually, it's cool, but like, I kind of want to big fish it. Does Adrian want to go and be a Prem cricketer playing Div 9 is what I'm suggesting. And Ferrari is not Div 9.
I don't know. All I can pretty much say with some certainty that if he was a model railway enthusiast, I bet his layout would be incredible. And I also kind of
quick
feel
as well.
I also feel that you remember the old little Airfix models of like the old fighter planes and things like that. I bet he would be able to put one of those together straight out of the box in about half an hour, and it would probably fly as well.
Yep, 100%. I think he would be able to, those magazines where it's like 60 episodes to build or 60 editions to build the Titanic and get like one piece each time. I think he'd be able to build it with like the first edition.
And then they would fabricate the other kind of pieces himself.
Or he would take essentially the deck to start with, and he'd somehow think that was all the pieces, and he'd turn the deck into a better version of the Titanic that wouldn't hit an iceberg. Like, you build an iceberg-safe Titanic. At the end of the day, is it about money? Is it about winding down? Does he want to wind down? Does he want to, keep going back and forth to Italy? Then there's the whole other point of there's a lot of chat about Adrian. How much difference will it make? Is it Adrian? Is it the team that was behind him? Were Red Bull just onto a good thing? And how much of that was Mr. Newey? Lots to consider.
Yeah.
We know nothing. We know nothing about nothing. But
we know enough about his track record to suggest that he had a very, very significant part to play in the success, don't we?
Yes. I think I would prefer him to go to Aston to shuffle the pack more.
Yeah,
I'd actually like him to go to Williams for that purpose.
Yeah.
But I would rather him go make a mid-team very good than turn Ferrari into the new Red Bull, because then we're back where we started, sort of thing. So selfishly, I'm trying to sort of mentally will him to Aston.
Yeah.
Send it to V-Carb. Why not? Send it to the RB. Let's do that.
Nobody needs to go there. Look what's happened to Daniel Ricciardo since he's been there. Nobody deserves that. Not even Liam Lawson deserves that.
No, well, he's not going to get it, so it doesn't matter. He is bad. That bloke, though, I mean, I sent it to you. What can't the bloke do, right? He's a bit of a looker. He's got a lovely fit missus. He's very fast at driving cars. He makes entertaining media stuff for Red Bull. And now, it turns out, shitballs me, he can sing as well. And he's releasing a studio album. Well, I don't know if he's releasing an album, but he's sung a song that is studio recorded. Foo Fighters cover. And it's good. It's actually, he can sing.
Yeah. So on top of all of that, do you know he's a YouTuber as well? Did you know that?
I've seen a YouTube.
He's a vlogger
from him.
I mean, who'd be a vlogger? Let's be honest. It looks like he's kind of upgrading Subaru Foresters by the looks of it. But whatever you Australians and Kiwis are into.
Yep.
I saw him a long time ago, actually, kind of playing a guitar with his girlfriend on a couch or a sofa, whatever you call it, wherever you are in the world, singing like a Zach Bryan song. And I was like, oh, that's quite good. That's not bad. And I just thought it was a bit of a gimmick type thing. And then obviously you popped up on my phone the other day and you were like, we need to discuss this. So I was like, right, let's check it out straight away. Let's not put AB on ice and let's see what's going on. And then the next thing I know, he's in a recording studio with people with slidey buttons and lights and things.
So many slidey buttons.
All of them. And so that he kind of gets to the end of it as if he's done it 1,000 times before and just goes, is that all right? And they go, no, we'll do it once more. We'll do it once more. And he goes, all right, no stress. I mean, to be fair, he's not driving Formula One cars, so he's got fuck all else to do. He might as well sing, mightn't he?
And it doesn't seem like he's going to get to drive a Formula One car anytime soon because it sounds like Danny Rick's locked it down.
Yeah.
Yuki's locked it down and he's pot committed,
What happens genuinely with Liam Lawson? Because he is, how old is he? He's 22. So if he doesn't race next year, so he'll be 23 before next season starts. That's the 11th of February, which means then if he doesn't get a gig next year at all, he'll be 24 before the 2025 season, which is obviously the season before the regs change. And then if he doesn't get anything before the regs change, he'll be 25 in 2020. Oh, Christ, that's confusing, isn't it?
Yeah,
but what happens
your maths here is struggling.
Like, is 2024 too old to start? Because, I mean, Red Bull have got a fairly kind of decorated young driver program. Every time you turn on an F2 or an F3 race, there's about 19 Red Bull liveried cars at the front of all of their cars. Like, they have got several cherries to pick from. How long is it before Liam Lawson kind of gets a little bit of a mouldy cherry and doesn't actually become as delicious to Helmut Marko as what he might be at the moment? Well, he's not actually.
Well, we don't know for sure, do we? But the suggestion is that the clause ends this year with him being Red Bull pot committed. So that was or that they'd made some agreement that they'd either have a drive for him for 2025 or he can drive for non-Red Bull aligned teams. So if that is true, then okay, he's sort of. But is he throwing his hat in the ring for 26? Because no, not really. Because no one knows if he. Well, we kind of know he can drive an F1 car. He did those couple of races where he did objectively fine in a car that was objectively fine. But it would be a big punt from a team to put an untested non-rookie in a new regulations era car that you might as well. I know Antonelli will be driving by that point already, but you might as well stick the 18-year-old in the potluck season and potluck your potluck and maybe find another Verstappen and maybe don't. I mean, the dude is clearly very talented and probably deserves to have a go. You can see a situation where he doesn't get a go, though. And he maybe... look, I'm going to say settle for IndyCar. That's probably derogatory towards IndyCar. I've never seen it. And acting as if it's second fiddle is probably not fair. But you could see him having to go and settle, if you like, for a non-Formula One based dream and then just plying his trade as an IndyCar driver or something. Or maybe YouTube. Maybe he just doubles down on the YouTube.
Could do that. Because, I mean, like, I've just done a little bit of a look through here as to what Red Bull have got available to them if they wanted to. So these are but I don't know, it's on Wikipedia, so it might be utter bollocks. But they've got I'm not sure I can pronounce the first name. Ayumu Iwasa, who has been in
Ayuki?
Ayumu, Ayumu. That he's racing in Super Formula at the moment, which is like the Japanese kind of version of the lower thing down. Isaac Hadjar, Pepe Martin or Marti in Formula 2 right now. Oliver Goethe, Arvid Lindblad, Tim Tramnitz in Formula 3.
Hell of a set of names going on here, by the way.
Enzo Deligny, who is racing in...
Sounds like a coffee machine.
He's racing in European Formula something. He's 16.
Oh, good.
And then we've got James Igozi and Enzo Tarnvanikul, who are so young they don't even have Wikipedia pages for them.
Oh, good.
So, as I say, at what point does it get to where it just goes, you're not the guy?
Yeah, unproven as well. That's the big thing for me that we keep coming back to is the fact that he's, okay, slightly proven. I keep saying unproven. He has done it a couple of times and did it okay. But, yeah. What are you going to take your punt on is a very, very valid question. I mean, I want him. I want him there. I don't want him there at the expense of Danny Rick because Danny Rick's my boy. But I'll take an Oceanic brother on the grid. So, I mean, I'm gonna say that this is maybe why we should have 11 or indeed 12 Formula One teams, so that there are perhaps a couple of additional cars that are allowed to be driven.
Tell you what, I'm continuing down this rabbit hole. There are some names on this list. So Christian Klein, Sebastian Vettel, Viv Antonio Liuzzi, Daniel Ricciardo, Daniel Kvyat, Alexander Albon, Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly, Scott Speed, Sebastian Buemi, Jaime Alguersuari, Brendan Hartley, Jean-Eric Vergne, Carlos Sainz, Yuki Tsunoda, Liam Lawson have all driven in Formula One. Then you go through kind of a few more, and I don't know too many of these when they started back in 2001, but you get to Matthias Lauda, I would imagine, is a relation to Nicky. Narain Kartikeyan, he drove in Formula One. Let me have a little bit more of a scroll down. Philippe Eng, he's currently doing DTM stuff, I think, and he's doing really well. Felipe Albuquerque's definitely done Le Mans. There was Robert Wickens, he's raced in Indy. Karun Chandok, we all know about him. Daniel Juncadella, he's pretty quick. Bortolotto, he's quick, he was at Le Mans. Antonio Felix da Costa, he's quick. Tom Blomqvist, he's quick. Alex Lynn's quick. Callum Ilot's quick. Sergio Sette Camara's quick. There's a lot of people here that don't make the grade, that never make it forward. And I suppose Liam Lawson has got further than a lot of these guys, but don't necessarily think that's a guarantee that he's going to get a gig.
No, which would be a shame for everyone, but F1's about timing, isn't it? In every sense of the word. It's about timing. It's about coming up with
timing if we're going to go down that route.
There you go. Life is about timing. Right, well, a little bit just to box off. The Spanish Grand Prix this weekend. I've just had a little look before we started. If you'd like to go, the only way you may go is corporate hospitality now, because there are no other tickets available for this weekend. It is completely sold out across all 3 days, apart from a 3-day weekend corporate package at about €1,400.
Good for Spain.
Silverstone, not that. Silverstone are having to work very hard to ask people very nicely to come. Silverstone, it's outrageously expensive now. And I've never been to the F1 in person, so I don't necessarily know what previous tickets used to be.
Yeah.
But I had a look before we started, and the cheapest way that you can watch the Formula One at Silverstone on Sunday, bearing in mind that there are tickets available for both 3-day passes and each individual day still, and we're not that far away from the British Grand Prix now. You'd think that they should be starting to sell out some bits, particularly race day Sunday. £309 which is too many pounds for essentially a 90-minute event.
I mean, there's other races. Maybe
it's essentially a 90-minute event. You're not buying your ticket because there's a F3 feature race beforehand.
Maybe if you looked at it a different way, £310 and you were there for 12 hours would cost you £26 an hour.
Doesn't sound like a great deal.
Who earns £26 an hour these days? No, that's outrageous, isn't it? And
that's general admission as well. That's I don't think that's allocated
No.
seating in a specific grandstand. That's you're allowed into the venue.
Yeah, find somewhere to stand on a grass bank somewhere, and good luck.
Peer through a fence.
Yeah, trying to see past the bloke in front of you that's 6'5". It's not good, is it? I mean, everybody, we kind of constantly fed the fact that there's a cost of living crisis with all of these things going on in the UK right now, and there is obviously a lot of truth to that. Also, a lot of people kind of getting on the train coming out and from Gatwick Airport right now. So there's going to be a cost of living crisis for some and not so others. I don't know. I don't even know what the going rate would be for that kind of event in the UK. £309 sounds ridiculous. I wouldn't pay it, but I don't feel like Formula One at the moment has that kind of bucket list tick for me that it used to. And I think probably because of the noise, actually, a lot of it, I kind of am less excited about the idea of going. If somebody like emailed us and was something like, "Oh, lads,
I was going to say press passes.
Love the podcast. Get to the F1 VIP hospitalities, grid passes. We'll tee you up with Brundy. He can ask you who you are and all this other good stuff. I'd be there in a heartbeat. But I'm not dipping my hand in my pocket for 309 quid.
No. Well, there are... I don't know, because I don't like the old soccer kickball. I think you would probably manage to get a season ticket for 60-odd home games or whatever silly amount of games they play per season in a season ticket for a Premier League team for £309. And that's 90 minutes at least once a week for, far too much of the year. And you just think, I don't...
Well, yeah, you wouldn't get a Premier League one.
Right.
You'd be I think, just having a quick scroll. No, you wouldn't. You'd have to still find a few quid to get a Burnley one. They have the cheapest at £335, but £335 over the course of 9 months or so feels like a better bet, doesn't it?
You're getting a lot more. You're getting a lot more sport for your poundaroos. And rather insultingly, I think, as a man that's just come out of sports media, I don't know who suggested that this be a good PR statement for him, but the head of Silverstone as a venue basically came out and blamed Red Bull for the fact that they hadn't sold out the weekend yet. It was Red Bull's fault because Red Bull are too good and that makes it hard to sell tickets. If those tickets were £50, they would have been sold out a long time ago. I don't think it's Red Bull that's the problem.
No. And also, Formula One's quite good at the moment.
Yep, better than it has been for the last 2 years.
It's all
Which,
right.
to be fair, Max Verstappen came back and said that exact thing in a press conference, that F1's really exciting at the minute. I don't think we're the problem.
No.
No. And Lewis Hamilton came out and said that they've got to do something about the rising ticket costs. And I understand how supply and demand works, right? I did year 9 economics. I understand that. But
Do you remember that?
there's no demand here, or you'd be sold out.
Yeah. Yes.
So... And it's like Vegas. So the Vegas and the Miami tickets, everyone goes, oh my God, how expensive are those tickets? And then they sold out. So they obviously weren't that expensive. They were to a layman.
Yeah.
But for their market, they understood supply and demand. They went, we've got this many tickets. We know this many people want to come, so we'll charge this. And we sold out. So, but Silverstone not doing
No.
that.
I mean, I love other formulas. I love other kinds of racing, 4 wheels, 2 wheels, whatever. I'm kind of on board for any of it. And I think it does need to be noted about the fact that there are obviously a lot of other events and support races going on over the course of the weekend that will be very enjoyable to watch if you are prepared to look past the Formula One race. However, I am also very aware of the fact that a lot of people will be looking at £309, as you said, for a 90-minute experience.
Yeah. Or you a little bit like the warm-up act at a concert. I'm going to see Liam Lawson and the Foo Fighters. They're who I've paid my ticket for. So in my mind, my £309 is to watch Liam and the Foos. If there's a really good support act first, I come away and I tell you, oh yeah, I went to see the Foo Fighters. Oh, the support act was good.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I've not paid my £309 to see the support act and Liam and the Foos. Yep. My 309 went that way, and that's like the 25% free that it says on the top of like tuna cans, like that is just the size of the item. That's I've not factored that into my ticket. That's a nice bonus on the top.
Yeah,
but
I get you.
Yeah, we just got to be a little bit careful, don't we? And they might still sell that. Who knows? Maybe it's just a slow burner because it's cold in the UK still, and no one's in that summer spirit yet. But you've got to be a little bit careful that you don't shoot yourself in the foot. You're better off making, 15% less money this year, but being able to say you sold it out a month and a half in advance. And then next year, you can put the prices up a little bit because you sold out a month and a half in advance this year. And be sensible about it, is what I would say. But anyway, it's not Silverstone this weekend, Dan. It's the Spanish Grand Prix. And to wrap it up, who's going to win? And more importantly, who's going to shit the bed?
I fancy a little Lando dub.
Okay.
I feel there's chance. I like it. I think he's a good qualificator, and I think if you can qualificate well in Spain, then you tend to have a pretty good race. So I'm going to say Lando. Somebody who's gonna do a massive dookie in the bed. I'm just going to go for George. I know LH44 has come out and turned around and said that we should stop spreading negativity about George, and I quite like George. I think he's quite a nice bloke, and I think he's a good Formula 1 driver. However, he has got a little bit of a fuck up in him. So yeah, I'm going George.
Interestingly, I was going to pick George to win it. What's exciting as much as anything else is that me and you have both not just gone what's going to be Max Verstappen, which says that Formula 1 is back to being in a far better place because we can, without taking the piss now, say other drivers and potentially...
It might be.
As many as 8 drivers, maybe 7 if we don't include Perez. There are, in theory, almost a point-scoring set of drivers that... I wouldn't go, what the fuck are you smoking? If you suggested that Oscar was going to win this weekend, I'd go, you know what? He probably needs a superb strategy, a well-timed safety car, or someone else to, engine blow up in front of him. But it's not outrageous to think, and I dare say the bookies wouldn't give you silly odds on that happening. And it's the same with both Mercs. It's the same with Lando. And, it's the same with both Ferraris. They're always going to be there or thereabouts. So... that's exciting. I'll say, George, just to go contrary to you, I think the Mercedes, they've got some more upgrades this weekend, I think. And also the RBs, I believe, are bringing a almost entirely new car this weekend. So that's going to go one of two ways. But hey, let's go the full point scorers bit. Let's get a Danny Rick bloody podium, shall we? I'm going to take a cop out. I'm going to say Logan Sargent's going to put it in the wall. Fuck it. Let's go.
Piss poor. No, that's pathetic.
Yes, he is. That's the point.
No, that's pathetic. That's pathetic. And on that note, I think it's time. Yeah, no, I'm not having it. I might just cut the podcast there.
There it is. The rest of you aren't going to hear this. I'll tell you to go and like the socials at Lapdownpod across various platforms. And I'll tell you to email lapdownpod@gmail.com. I don't think we'll get one because Dan's probably edited this out. But Liam Lawson's going to stick it in the wall. Liam Lawson? He's not driving. Logan Sargent's going to stick it in the wall at some point. George is going to win. And then, are we a triple header now? Are we bang, bang, bang?
We might be. I don't know.
Bloody bang it. Let's go. But hey, cool. España. Let's do it.
Lovely. Enjoy. See you.
Enjoy.
Ciao. No, that's Italian.
Ciao, Bella.
What do they say? Buenas noches. There we go. Done.
Ooh, there we go. Sounds delicious.